I'm Will Noonan, and you're listening to Tom Clark's Main Event.
This is Daddy Show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to the program. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and you are listening to Tom Clark's Main Event. This is episode number 26 of the podcast, and for those of you who are rejoining us for another go-around, we say to you, welcome back. For those of you who may be coming aboard for the first time, we say, hey, thanks for showing up. And for everyone involved, we want to extend to you the customary laurel and a hearty handshake. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Thank you for reading. And for all the above. It is greatly appreciated. We appreciate your patronage. So there you are. My name's Tom, and this is my show. As I said before, this is episode number 26. 26 episodes deep. And the 1-year anniversary of the main event is coming around in August. Right around the corner, actually. I'm pretty happy about that. Pretty excited. And if 26 episodes sounds impressive to you, don't let it. Because honestly, that breaks down to like 2-point-something episodes per month or something like that. So, not very impressive. Anybody that knows me can tell you that I do what I can when I can. I love doing the show. I don't always have the opportunity to do it. I spend a lot of my days writing, a lot of my days being awesome, and honestly, between the two, it's really hard to get anything else accomplished. I mean, it's like, oh, what's Tom doing? Well, he's writing, or he's being awesome, or he's being awesome as he's writing, or he's spouting off a bunch of nonsense, and it's becoming to get, like knee-deep, so something like that. Okay, enough of the nonsense. We will plug the website at the end of the program, as we always do. We want to go ahead and get this thing started. If you're noticing a difference in sound, as I've said numerous times here, I don't know how many episodes in a row this makes. No, we are not coming to you from the very lovely and spacious Boink Studios. We are actually, once again, out of the realm of the studio. We are out and about. I might just retitle the podcast Tom Clark's Main Event, out and about. So, there you are. It's exciting. Don't lie. I know you love it. But this is one of those moments, actually, when I wanted to just sort of bang out a quick episode if I could, because I've got some stuff in my mind, things that I want to discuss, things I've not had a chance to cover on the show that have happened in the past week or so. Depending upon when you listen to this particular podcast, the Monday edition of Monday Night Raw, the July 27th edition of Monday Night Raw, has taken place this past week. Some very big news hit the net. A lot of controversy going on, which leads us to the topic. The main event this time around is Hulk Hogan and other stuff. And by now you've all read about the Hulk Hogan situation. You are well versed in what has happened, the specifics of the case, and all this, that, and the other. I want to take an opportunity here to tell you a little bit about where I'm coming down on this. I posted a column recently entitled Hulk Hogan, the Hero versus the Man, which essentially breaks down my thoughts and feelings on this subject. And one of the things I found disconcerting about this whole thing is I keep reading opinions, whether in column form or on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever. People saying that he's their hero, that he's their childhood hero, and that their childhood is ruined now, and it's this, that, and the other thing, I don't know if you've read any of that, but I seem to keep running into it. Maybe I'm just looking for it now. I don't know what it is. Or it's finding me. That's what I prefer to think of. It's just finding me at this point. I have a real issue, to be honest with you, with anybody that sits there and tells me that they have a hero to begin with, especially if that hero is a pro wrestler. Okay? Because, folks, pro wrestlers are only human, as much as you and I are. We're all well aware of this. Hogan has committed sins in the past, sins that have been well documented. He happens to have done things in or around the public eye that have hit the press and have hit all the dirt sheets and made all the headlines and made people like you and me sit back and just shake our heads, from the steroid controversy to the sex tape that's emerged to the language that's come off that sex tape to everything in between. Hogan is no stranger to controversy, and that's just how it is. And he's not the first guy to come along in the business to have things happen to him and around him, and to be guilty of things, to do things that he shouldn't have been doing, and to been caught doing them in the first place. I mean, he's just one of many, many, many guys and or gals to come along to do things that would classify them as being human. Now, I am in no way excusing his behavior. I am in no way excusing what he said. I'm not going to be one of those guys that apologizes for Hulk Hogan. I did not grow up a Hulk Hogan fan. He was not my hero. I am here in the South, as most of you know. I'm in the great state of North Carolina. I grew up an NWA kid, and I still am. The Mid-Atlantic region is the best and has been the best area for championship wrestling. From the time that I was knee-high to this point right now in my life, the Mid-Atlantic region, there's something about pro wrestling down south. The storytelling has always been here, okay? And I've seen other promotions from other different parts of the country, and much respect to the guys that get in the ring and put their bodies on the line to earn money and to earn a living and to try to build their careers and do something with their lives and to pursue their dreams. Much respect to every man and woman that laces up a pair of boots and gets in the squared circle. But there's a different vibe when you come down south and see professional wrestling. There's just a different vibe. And there's just something about it. Like I said, the storytelling is there. The heart is there. The desire for these guys to get in the ring and to really have the drama unfold, to live the character, to live the situation, to live the moment, to draw you in. This is what the NWA was based around. This is what became popular for Jim Crockett Promotions. It's what put them on the map. The passion that Dusty Rhodes had for the business. The heart, the passion, the drive that Ric Flair had. All the great feuds that came about in the NWA. The Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express. Madam T.A. versus Nikita Koloff. Dusty versus Tully. Rick versus Dusty. Wahoo McDaniel. The Russians. Jim Cornette. The list goes on and on and on. All of these guys who were committed to the storytelling, committed to bringing fans the absolute best they could possibly bring. That's storytelling at its finest, man. And so, pro wrestlers, as much as we would be in awe of what they can do, as much as we sit back and marvel at their exploits in the ring, as much as we sit back and say we respect CM Punk for what he did in the ring, for speaking his mind, there are just as many critics of CM Punk as a man. And just like we sit back and we marvel at different guys and appreciate what they bring to the game, there are just as many critics who sit back and bash those guys. Punk's not the only one. I'm not trying to pick on Punk here. But it's from every walk of life. Every fan from every walk of life has an opinion, of course. And everyone has something to say. The issue that I have with it is when you try to project too much of the hero worship on just a regular guy. What was it that Jordan said? Was it Jordan? Charles Barkley, I believe it was. I'm not a role model. Remember that campaign in the NBA? I'm not a role model. You're looking at the wrong guy, man. I'm human like you are. I make mistakes. So, if you're going to bash Hogan for what he said, have at it. I mean, honestly, it takes a person in a really bad spot with a really bad mind, with a really bad warped, twisted sense of thinking to say the things he said. Okay, I'm not going to condone anything he said. Not going to excuse it in the slightest. He knows he was wrong. Here's hoping that his PR people will do some damage control and do it quick. He's been on Twitter back and forth, which I've heard some opinions out there that say that he shouldn't be on Twitter at all. I don't know if I agree with that. He seems sincere in his apologies. But, you can't erase what was said. All you can do is try to move on and go to the next phase of your life, because he is done with WWE. Or I should say they're done with him. And a lot of people have a lot of problem with that as well. They have a problem with the fact that the WWE has essentially trying to erase him from their existence, which you could actually make the argument that that's drawing more attention to it than if they just left it alone. But like it or not, WWE is a publicly traded company. They have shareholders, they have sponsors, they have guys in corporate stuffed shirts and ties and suits, and they're bankrolling that company. They got a lot of money invested, and those people have to be happy. They have to be happy, and it's a corporation. So I mean, like it or love it or hate it, doesn't really make a difference. WWE's made their decision, and they're pulling up and pulling out, getting away from Hogan as far as they can, and trying to distance themselves from the Hulkster. As I said before, he wasn't my hero growing up. I had other heroes in the business. To me, Hogan was the paper champion up north, as he was so often referred to. And I've covered all this in the column that I spoke about previously. And, does that mean that I have a stake in seeing him fail? Absolutely not. I didn't say I wanted to see him fail. I've not been his biggest fan. I've been a very heavy critic of his in the past. Here's the difference between me and some other writers that may be out there and that actually may be listening right now. Who knows? I've never attacked Hogan as a man. I've attacked him as his character. I've attacked him for how he represents himself inside the business. It's never been Hulk Hogan the man as a piece of crap. He's this, he's that. That's not my place to say, because I don't know Hogan on a personal level. I can't sit here and testify to how Hogan is outside of the ring, what kind of guy he is. Is he a jerk? Is he nice? Is he the biggest scoundrel you've ever met? Or is he the nicest guy you've ever met and give you the shirt off his back? I have no idea. I can only tell you what I see from a fan's perspective, as you would. I can only tell you what I see inside the business, and a lot of what I've seen is selfishness. It's a guy that's been very self-serving, that wouldn't put anyone else over. Does that mean I want to see him fail? No, it doesn't. I will tell you that he has a lot of work to do to correct this. This is not something that you can easily bounce back from. Ask Paula Deen how much time and effort it takes to recover from something like this. Okay, it's a big deal. And I don't know that we will ever see Hogan back to the level that he was at before in terms of popularity. If you put Hogan on Monday Night Raw next week, I don't know that he might not get booed out of the building. I'm going to be honest with you. Wrestling fans are a forgiving bunch. We really are. We always have been. We're a forgiving bunch to a certain extent. It depends on what you've done, number one, and it depends on how much time has passed. Give it 6 months, and then put Hogan on Monday Night Raw and see what happens. He'll blow the roof off the place. Because people are very forgiving. Because people will look at that and say, okay, look, man, some time has passed. What he said was 8 years ago. He says he was a different person then. Why not give him the benefit of the doubt? Here's the thing. If you are of the Christian mind, of the Christian way of thinking, don't know if you subscribe to that or not. Entirely up to you, man. But if you're of that mindset, then Hogan deserves forgiveness like anyone else does. Hogan deserves an opportunity to right the ship. He deserves an opportunity to make better and to atone for his sins, and his sins are plenty. A lot of us do things that we're not proud of. A lot of us say things we're not proud of. I've said things in the past I wish I could take back. You have too. We've all done things in the past we wish we could take back. I'm as guilty as you are. Here's the difference. You are not Hulk Hogan, and neither am I. You have to know that when you are on the public eye, when you are a global icon and a crossover star as Hulk Hogan is, then you need to watch yourself. It doesn't mean you got to be perfect. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to screw up. But to the extent of which you screw up is a pretty big deal. People bash John Cena 6 ways from Sunday. I've been very critical of Cena inside the ring. Doesn't mean I've bashed him as a man, because number one, again, I don't know him personally. Number two, my job, honestly, is not to bash anyone on a personal level. I'm a pro wrestling analyst. Okay? I'm not a life coach. I'm not someone that's going to sit back and give you psychoanalysis on a person as a man or as a woman. That's not my job. My job is to watch and follow the business, watch the matches, watch the storylines unfold, and give you my thoughts on it. That's my job. Okay? I'm paid to do that. That's what I do. And it's not my job to sit there and theorize where a guy's coming from on a personal level. Entirely up to him. Hogan is the one that has to live with that. And as I said just now, for all the heat that John Cena catches, and John Cena catches a lot, when's the last time you've heard anything about Cena as a man come out? There's been stories in the past that maybe he's held somebody down, this, that, and the other. You get a glimpse of what Cena is really like on Total Divas, but you can believe one thing right now. If it's something that WWE doesn't want you seeing, you won't see it. No doubt about it. There's no way it's happening, man. Because you talk about damage control, that company will protect John Cena's image at all costs. Am I suggesting he's up to no good behind closed doors? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. 9 times out of 10, what you're hearing about him is probably right. He really is the hardest working guy there. He's the first guy there, last guy to leave, and is a locker room leader. Keeps his nose clean. Doesn't do anything wrong. Just tries to do good for the company, do good for himself, and tries to make a good show. Chances are that's the truth. Can I testify to that? No, I can't. I'm just giving you my opinion on that. But I think that's probably what we're seeing with Cena. Now, 5 years down the road, 5 months down the road, anything could happen. 5 weeks down the road, who knows? But as of right now, all the criticism leveled at Cena is on a professional level, as it should be, because there's nothing there to criticize him for on a personal level, and there shouldn't be. Okay, these guys have to know that when they get to that level, it's time to stop the shenanigans. No messing around. No being cute. No drugs. No strip clubs. No guns. None of that nonsense. No fights in the bar. Nothing that's going to hit the news anyway. I mean, any of the old timers will tell you that when they were coming up, they were challenged in bars all the time by guys who wanted to see how really tough they were. Okay, that kind of stuff is always going to be there because there's always going to be knuckleheads out there that think they're being cute and think they can get one up on you, and that's fine. There's always there's douchebags everywhere. We know this from every stage of existence, man. Unfortunately, they're like roaches. They just keep breeding. You know what I mean? Turn the light on, watch them scatter. So those kind of people are always going to exist, no doubt about it. But it's a matter of looking at Cena and taking it for what you see and taking it for what it's worth. Cena is not the scoundrel that some people portray him to be, in my opinion. Now, if evidence ever comes out to contradict what I'm saying, so be it. But as of right now, I think what you're seeing is what you get. So, having said all of that, again, I'll reiterate this point. For those of you taking notes, and you better be, because there's a quiz at the end of this show. These guys are not role models. Okay? They're not idols. They're not people for you to worship. Okay? When I was growing up, as I said, my heroes were Dusty Rhodes. My heroes were Magnum TA. My heroes are Wahoo McDaniel. Those are the guys I looked up to. I had friends that grew up watching baseball. I had friends that grew up watching football. They had their heroes. Okay? I didn't care anything about organized sports as a kid. I really didn't. Pro wrestling was my sport. I grew up idolizing those guys. My kid's a huge John Cena fan. Okay? It would crush him if something came out about John that's negative. It would. It would kill him. So it would have killed me if something negative had come out about Dusty. All right? Be careful how high of a pedestal you put these guys on. And I think that with it being 2015 for the most part, in my opinion, I think that people are under the realization that these guys are only human. They're only playing roles on TV. And let's all calm down and get a hold of ourselves, no doubt about it. But there's still an element of folks out there who cannot seem to separate fact from fiction. They cannot seem to separate reality from what's being written. They can't do it, man. And it's sad. It's ridiculous in a lot of aspects. But it is what it is. So if you are one of those people, I caution you, please, find yourself another role model. And even then, danger, warning, the guy you chose is human too. People are going to let you down, okay? But that's it, period. You have to be accepting of that. You have to be accepting that Hulk Hogan is going to say some stupid stuff. Because sometimes he can be an idiot. Like you can. Like I can. Doesn't make it right. You got to pay for what you do. Okay? You got to pay for what you do. There's consequences for your actions. There's consequences for his actions. I mean, he's being blackballed by WWE right now. They're pulling him out. That's his consequences. I don't think you'll see him in TNA Ring of Honor anytime soon. Just my opinion. But it's a tough situation for him. And again, as I said before, I'm no fan of Hogan. Never have been. I'm not really a fan of his right now. But I will tell you this, on a personal level, man to man, here's hoping that Hogan can get this figured out. Okay, because he's lost a lot of friends. He's lost a lot of guys that came up in the business with him, that put him over. He's outlived a lot of those guys, all right? For better or worse, however he lives outside of the business or whatever you may think of his family or his kids or whatever that stuff is happening, just on a human level from one man to another, get yourself straight. You know what I mean? And hopefully he can do that. But again, when you talk about a guy who's a role model, all right, you're talking about somebody that you're looking up to, that you're respecting on every level, you have to be careful and you have to be very aware that that person is only human, okay? You got to be aware of that. And you got to be understanding of that, okay? Hulk Hogan the hero versus Hulk Hogan the man. Who wins out in that argument? Hulk Hogan the man wins out every time. That's it. He has to. Because the guy that you've seen on TV all these years is not Hulk Hogan. That's it. He's the character. This is what a lot of people can't get separated. They, again, fact from fiction, storyline from reality. Two entirely different things. Now, is the guy you see on TV actually Terry Bollea with the volume turned way up? Well, of course it is. He's supposed to be. I mean, when you listen to Steve Austin's podcast, it sounds like Steve Austin. When Steve Williams carries on a conversation, probably with his wife or with his attorney or with, the guy at the liquor store, then that dude, he sounds just like Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's no doubt about it, because when the camera's turned on or the mic's turned on, it's time for him to roll and time for him to shine. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin. He sounds and looks just like him. He's not that guy, okay? And no matter what anyone says, oh, well, it's basically the same guy. Well, no, it is. I'm not disputing that, okay? But there has to be a distinction there. There has to be. There has to be a distinction between the guy you see on TV and the guy that it's at home. Because let's face it, if Stone Cold Steve Austin, the character, were a real person, you wouldn't be able to tolerate him. He'd probably get on your nerves. You know what I'm saying? Go back and look at the character. Really, he's flawed. Terrible attitude, always ticked off. I mean, can you imagine being around somebody like that all the time? Doesn't care about you, doesn't have your best interests at heart. Probably not a guy you'd want to go hang out with, because if you tick him off, he'll put you through a plate glass window. I mean, think about it, folks. We're talking about character versus the man versus character. Hulk Hogan, the man, is going to have to figure out how in the world he's going to fix this. It's entirely up to him. You can't do it for him. No one can do it for him. Hulk Hogan, the character, can't do it for him. He has to figure this out for himself. And maybe he can. I don't have any idea if he can. I still think we'll see him on WWE programming again at some point. Could be 6 months or a year down the road. I've had discussions lately with folks who have said, no way, no how, he's done. And maybe they're right. I could be totally wrong on this. Being an analyst doesn't mean that we're the smartest people in the room, okay? It just means we're paid for our opinion. And we do the best we can to give you the best possible opinion we can come up with. My opinion on Hogan is that eventually you'll see him on WWE programming again. I think it'll be a long time. That's if he can figure it out. So as we said before, moving on to the other stuff, this is Hulk Hogan and other stuff. What else is in the news right now? The trailer for 12 Rounds Part 3 has come out, and the man Dean Ambrose starring in the film. And female fans all over the world are all aflutter. They've got the vapors right now because Dean is in a big budget film. Well, he's in a budget film. I don't know how big it is, but here's my take on the Dean Ambrose, okay? I think that Dean Ambrose, pound for pound, has got to be one of the most charismatic guys on the roster. I think that he's got it figured out. I really think that he's got it figured out. Of all the guys in that locker room, there's only a few that you can point to and say, oh, he's got it figured out. Dean does, okay? Does that mean he was born with it? I don't have any idea. I think that you can learn it. I think that you can teach yourself what to do, and I think that you can get a handle on it. Dean knows what he's doing. He has it, okay? Now, am I talking about it in terms of multiple world championship reigns? I don't have any idea. I think he's more than capable of holding the strap. I think he can do as good of a job, in my opinion, as a babyface that Seth has done as a heel. Seth Rollins has turned out to be the top heel in the company, done a very admirable job as WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, who would have thought back during the days of the Shield, everyone had Roman pegged as the breakout star, and it turns out it was Seth. Now, is that Dean's fault? Well, absolutely not, because Dean keeps finding himself booked in strange situations. And I recently published a column on Bleacher. The title escapes me at the moment, but it was about Dean Ambrose's booking is at a standstill. It's because of poor booking. He's not going anywhere right now, and he's not. He's not getting him anything to do. He's working Bo Dallas on TV. All due respect to Bo Dallas, okay, he needs somebody to work as well, but Dean may not be the choice because Dean needs to get bigger and better. Like I said, he has it. He has the charisma. He has the character. He's got a handle on it, man. He's got it figured out. I think that he's going to shine in this new film. Whether or not the film makes $10 or not, I have no idea. But I think that he's going to shine. I think that people are going to come away from this movie saying, dude, he did a good job. I want to go see it myself, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know that I've ever actually paid to go see a WWE Films production in the theater, but I think it's going to happen this time because it's Dean Ambrose. To me, I am more interested in guys that get it inside the business. I've seen some of John's movies. I've seen Austin's movies. You know, guys that get it. They understand. And that's why I have no problem paying to see Dean Ambrose in 12 Rounds Part 3. So, yes, I'm probably going to check that out. I think that he can go far. I was asked recently, how far do you think he can go? I think that his run against Seth for the championship was big, and I think that he did very well. And I think he's capable of much more than what he's doing at the moment. I thought the rivalry with him and Seth is very entertaining. I thought that he brought it every single time. I think if you watch Raw and you wait for his music to hit, you'll hear one of the biggest pops of the night. So I think that Dean has a tremendous upside. He's very good in the ring. Like I said, the charisma's there. He's got the character. Everything's clicking along on all cylinders. Most of the time, the booking has to be right, folks. I mean, WWE has to get behind him, okay? They have to believe in Dean. They have to believe that Dean is capable of great things. If they don't believe in him, then no one's going to believe in him because his image and what he does and how he's presented all comes about due to the booking process. And if he's booked in weak matches, or he goes over on guys he should be beating all the time, or he's beaten in matches by guys that has no business pinning him, then he's going to start falling apart. I don't think it's to that point yet. No one's sounding the red alarm just yet. Just because I wrote a column doesn't mean the game's over for him. He's still got plenty of time, plenty of opportunities to shine, and I think that those opportunities will come in time. But right now, in my opinion, I don't know if they know what to do with him. Okay, Taker just came back, which screwed up the entire dynamic of Brock Lesnar being the top babyface of the company. Seth is in between opponents right now that looks like he's going to be facing John at the pay-per-view at SummerSlam for the title. And what do you do from that point on? Daniel's still on the shelf. Roman doesn't have anyone happening right now except Bray, which I hope that thing picks up. And speaking of Roman, transition here really quick here, folks. Roman Reigns, how are you feeling about the feud between Roman and Bray Wyatt? I listened to a podcast recently where the guy being interviewed gave a great point, and he said that at Battleground he expected Roman to be a lot more aggressive, that, you know, Bray had targeted his kid, and that's a really big deal. Excellent point. It does bring about a very interesting question. Why wasn't Roman more aggressive? Who coached him up in that match? Who told him and Bray to go out there and wrestle, you know, hold for hold and rest holds and side headlocks and rear chin locks? Who told him that? Because this should have been a Pier 6 brawl. This should have been from one end of the arena to the other. It should have been out into the lobby with popcorn. I mean, it should have been everywhere. These guys should have just about killed each other. I mean, this is Roman's family we're talking about here. For a guy whose family is as well publicized as the Anoa'i family is, and been on TV, and the fans are fully invested in the family's history, and they know all about it and where these guys come from, and Roman in particular. And for all that to be the case, why wasn't it pursued more? Why wasn't it given out more? The fact that Roman was so ticked off, so incredibly upset, so incredibly furious at Bray for targeting his kid. Why did that not come to light during their match Battleground? Why was that not revealed? Why did they not talk more about it? It's missed opportunities. As pro wrestling fans, this is what kills me the most about the business, especially about that company. So many missed opportunities, man. It's insane how many there are. Missed opportunities. How about this? How about Brock Lesnar being the top babyface of the company until The Undertaker comes back? I mean, that a missed opportunity. Brock Lesnar is your top babyface, and you've put him in a very odd situation where he has to essentially heel out so Taker can be face. Now, there's rumors abounding right now that maybe Taker is turning heel. Terrible move, in my opinion. Doesn't need to happen, because what is the purpose of a guy getting heat from the crowd and getting over and getting heat as a heel, and then he disappears for another 6 months? What's the purpose of that? It's kind of the same notion as Triple H and Stephanie McMahon being the top heels in the company. Is there a point to that? There's no payoff. I mean, Triple H works once a year. Stephanie's not working at all. There's no payoff there. It's great that they can get that much heat. It's great that they can get over like that. That's awesome. Okay, I hate you too. Yeah, rah team. What's the point of it? Shouldn't those spots maybe been given to Seth or to another top heel? Bray Wyatt maybe, who's if Bray Wyatt's a heel, I'm the Queen of England, baby. Because it's not happening. It's not Bray's fault. He does and says all the right things to be heel. But the fans love him. They respect him. They like what he does. They want to see him turn face. He will eventually. It's going to be huge when he does, man. You talk about blowing the roof off someplace. I think that if of all the people he should interrupt, it should be Hunter. Can you imagine the feud that would come off that? If it were me, I would go Triple H versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. Now, I know what you're thinking. Don't even say it to me. You're going to have Bray lose 3 WrestleManias in a row? Because he worked John at 30, right? And he worked Taker at 31. So why in the world would you have him go down at 32 to Triple H? Put him in another pay-per-view then. Pencil it in for a Royal Rumble. Do something. But, you know, I think that Bray could become the hottest babyface in that company. I'm serious. I mean, I think it's entirely possible. I think that they know that, and they don't want to do that, so they're keeping him heel as long as they possibly can. Because they know if he has the opportunity to turn face, he's going to blow up. And it puts them in a weird position of having this creepy-looking dude they have to start promoting as top babyface. And, you know, they would sell some merch, no doubt, but what would that do for them as a company when your top face looks and sounds like Bray Wyatt? And I love Bray, don't get me wrong. We're Twitter buddies, actually. I mean, whatever that means. But it's no disrespect intended. I love Bray's work. I always have. I just don't know if that company would see him as a top babyface. I think they see him as a heel. And I think that if you want him to be a top heel, it needs some more work. He does everything in his power to heel out. Speaking of top heels, this is what we call the Segway edition of the main event, by the way. This week, the main event is Segways. So, by means of Segway, the top heel in the company could have been Kevin Owens. Guess what? Ain't now. No way, no how. See you later. In a column I wrote for Bleacher Report, I said that Owens has lost all momentum after losing to John at Battleground. He has. Shut up. You know it. Don't sit there and tell me that he looked great against John in all 3 matches. Don't sit there and tell me that he got the rub from John just by working him. Yada, 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 yada. Keep talking, keep pulling the string, and I'll keep listening. It's fine. He's lost momentum. Fans don't look at him like they did before. He's going to have a very entertaining feud with Cesaro. This thing's going to be high impact. It's going to be good. It's going to be hard-hitting. No doubt about it. But he's lost momentum. He went from working the top guy in the entire company to working another guy that they don't know what to do with. Okay? People had a lot of praise. They heaped a lot of praise on a Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. They made for a good team, I'm not going to lie. But I didn't care any more about Cesaro after that team had to break up because of Tyson surgery than I did before the tag team started to begin with. Whose fault is that? Is that Cesaro's? No. Booker's fault. Okay? They weren't ready. Tyson had to go out and they just said, oh crap. Just keep going out there wearing those stupid headphones. That's fine. Why? What's the point? You're keeping alive a tag team idea that's gone because your partner's on the shelf. And when Tyson comes back, they're going to put them right back together again. Now, if the guys can get over and get on TV and make the crowd love them and sell some merch and keep getting booked for TV spots, that's great. I'm not going to sit here and begrudge that to anybody in the locker room, all the way down to Zack Ryder. If you get yourself on TV, man, more power to you. That's awesome. I have a hard time with anyone, by the way, just as a side note, that tells me a guy's getting buried. Getting buried is not being put on TV. So don't talk to me about Owens getting buried. John Cena didn't bury Kevin Owens. Burying Kevin Owens is the last time he works John, he disappears from TV. That's getting buried. Okay? Don't talk to me about getting buried. We use terms way too loosely as fans. Buried is one of them. I hate that word. If that word could go away, I'd be happy. Wish the word was buried. You know what I'm saying? Be done with it, man. Move on. But Owens could have been your top heel. He could have supplanted Rollins as the top heel, which I think he did for a while. He's just that good. Kevin is very unsettling when he cuts a promo. Like, you want to hate him, but you just sit back in awe of him and say, dude, I don't know whether to cheer or boo. Because he's just got that way about him. Cuts straight-face promos. When he gets aggressive and it's in the ring, he never really shouts. He reminds me a lot of Ole. And I've said this in podcasts before, actually very recently, that he has Ole Anderson's mentality with Bam Bam Bigelow's moveset. And he's just very calm. He's very subdued. But when he's in the ring, he's a monster. And he just goes at you, double barrel. But if you caught the match with him and Orton on Monday Night Raw, on the July 27th edition of Raw, I was very disappointed in that match. Through no fault of Kevin or Randy's. But I will say this, there was a lot of times during that match that it really looked as though Randy wasn't interested. Looked like maybe he's taking a nap. And am I wrong? Go back and watch that match and tell me what you thought, man. Because to me, it looked like Randy was just sort of taking a night off. No disrespect intended. I don't think that they had any kind of chemistry. I wouldn't book that match again. Not me. Just saying. Because I don't think the chemistry was there. I don't think they had anything good going for them at all. Kevin was having to punch up, which is okay. I mean, he's such a giant anyway. But it's okay to have to do that. But for the heel to have to physically punch up, why did he even do that? Why didn't he just go to the gut? Work over the bread basket, as it were. Why didn't that happen? Why did he have to keep throwing forearms to the jaw? I don't get that at all. But I didn't think there was any chemistry between the two guys whatsoever. I didn't think the match looked good at all. I think it was rocky. I think there was a point where Owens shot him off into the ropes and Randy acted like he didn't know where he was supposed to be, and Kevin threw, I think it was a drop kick, or a flying tackle. And it just looked awkward. It just looked weird. I just didn't get that a bit. I didn't understand where they were coming from. And honestly, I don't know if they ran through the match before the match happened, but it just didn't look like to me that either one of these guys were fully invested in it. And again, it looked like Randy was going to sleep. Just from my opinion. I don't think that match did anyone any favors. I was very intrigued by it and couldn't wait to see it when it was announced. But I don't think it helped Kevin in the slightest. I don't think getting beat by John Cena helped Kevin in the slightest, okay? Did he get a nice rub? Absolutely. But if it were me, maybe I would have put off that third match for a while. Let him get some wins over some other guys. Maybe even let him beat Randy. Let him get some wins over some other guys other than John Cena, and then go in for the third match. And if you want John to beat him then, that's fine. But really, what you have to say now is he pinned John one time. Who's he pinned since then? Really, no one. I mean, really, if you really want to think about it, Kevin Owens has it in him to be the top heel in the company. No doubt about it. Can you imagine Kevin inside the Authority? Working along with Seth Rollins? Can you imagine him and Seth as tag team champions? That'd be pretty big, right? Not going to happen. But I think it'd be pretty big. I think that Kevin is an old school type of heel. He's got the body. He's got the look. And I think that he's capable of big things. I don't think he's capable of being the top guy, in my opinion. I don't see that for him. But I definitely think he could be the top heel. Whether or not the company allows that to happen and gets his booking right is anyone's guess. Booking. Let's talk about booking. Isn't this fun? You're loving this. Don't even lie to me. I know you are. When it comes to booking, there's an interesting little feud developing, and we have the booking to thank for that, actually. Neville, the Altitude Era has begun, folks. Neville squaring off against Stardust. This is a very interesting deal. On my own blog, which is tomclarkbr.wix.com/blog, I published a column recently entitled Cody Rhodes. Let me see if I can remember this. The Dream Continues. Is that what it is? Living the Dream, Chasing the Dream. Something of that effect. Just go read it. Come on, folks. You know you love me. Go read my stuff, please. But in the column, I essentially gave Cody some praise, and I said that, Cody's doing his own thing, that the Stardust gimmick is all his, that people wanted him to come back after Dusty Rhodes passed away, God rest his soul. People wanted to see Cody come back as Cody, maybe do the American Dream revisited, something of that nature, and come back and talk about his dad all the time, and sort of do what Charlotte does when she pays tribute to Rick every time she's in the ring. And that would have been nice, but it's not what Cody wanted, evidently. It's not what they wanted to do for him. Leave him alone. Let him do his thing. Stardust is his thing. The American Dream was probably the greatest gimmick of all time. It's been run already. No one could run it like Dusty could. Leave it alone. But Cody's doing a bang-up job in character, and he always has. And this thing with Stardust could have been laughed off the planet when he first started doing it with his brother. But it's come along nicely. I love the idea of the superhero angle coming back to light in WWE. The Hurricane was a very entertaining gimmick. Shane Helms did great with it, honestly. I love the idea of Neville as this superhero archetype versus a supervillain, where Stardust is the complete opposite of him. Do you know what I mean? And I really feel like that's what we're looking at. Stardust is one part, Adrian Street, one part Guardians of the Galaxy, and one part Dusty Rhodes with his showmanship. That's what I see Cody as being with the Stardust character. I think it's very unique. I think it's getting over, and I think it's working on every level. And I'm very interested to see where they take this feud that they got with Neville. I think it can draw some money. I don't know how big we're talking, but I think that it's going to be very entertaining. I think people are fascinated by Neville. I think it's a good idea to have Stardust keep pushing these promos and cutting these promos behind the scenes. I wouldn't have these two guys lay hands on each other again until SummerSlam, no doubt about it. And I sure wouldn't have them on the pre-show match. I would have them kick off the show and have it be just the match of the night. Just go lights out. Go out there and tell these guys, go for broke. Make them remember you. Make the rest of the night have to follow you up. Tell Brock and Taker good luck following that. That's what I would do. Throw the challenge out there to them. I think it's a very interesting idea, and I'm all for the concept of it. It's just a matter of, again, and we've said this before on the broadcast, folks, you know that I'm very big on characters. I'm very big on storytelling. The great foundation of any top pro wrestling promotion, whether it's WWE, TNA, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, whoever it is, the great foundation of any top pro wrestling promotion is their ability to tell compelling stories. That's what keeps fans coming back. Pyro doesn't bring fans to the table. It doesn't. The big Titantron doesn't do it. The gear doesn't do it. Okay, TV can only do so much. You can have as much hours on TV as a week as you want to. If the storytelling is not there, no one's going to care. Go look at the ratings the past several weeks. You'll find out the answer. The storytelling has to be compelling for people to be emotionally invested and to care about what happens to the men and women on their TVs every week. Storytelling has to be there. Okay? And I think there's some storytelling to be done with Neville versus Stardust. I'm interested to see where it goes. The storytelling that's going on right now in the Divas division is pretty major. This is the most focus that the Divas division has received since the days of Trish versus Lita. This is the moment that fans like myself have been waiting for years. This is the moment that we've been wanting to talk about. We've been wanting to see a return of relevancy to the Divas division. Hold the phone, Katie, bar the doors. It's true, it's true. It's so true. The Divas are becoming relevant again. Thanks to Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch. The NXT trio has come in like a house o' fire. And now there's 2 Divas matches on the show. Did you hear that? Go back and hit the little 15-second back button if you want to there and rewind it. Ready? All right. If not, I'll just say it again here. You don't have to. There's 2 Divas matches on the show now. 2! Man, just a month ago there was 1. We couldn't wait till it was over. Why? Because we hate the women? No. Because the booking wasn't there. The storytelling was terrible. It's terrible right now. The most compelling part of the Divas division right now are the trio from NXT. Those girls are killing it in the ring. Why? Because they got something to prove. Why? Because they want to make a big splash. Why? Because they love the business. Did they get in it to be runway models? No. I don't think so. I don't know them, but it doesn't look like they have. Do they get in to go have a career in porn or have a career in Playboy? Not to take shots at anybody. Hey, go with God, man. Make some money, whatever you want to do. Fine with me, right? But no, I don't think so. They want to be professional wrestlers. Not entertainers, not superstars. Professional wrestlers. They're getting it done. Becky versus anyone. Sasha versus Charlotte. Sign me up. 2 matches on the card. They're going to have the main event. You heard it here first. I don't care who you heard it from. Forget you heard it. You heard it here first. They're going to work the main event of Raw, and it's coming soon. I hope it comes real soon. I want to see it happen, man. For sure. Because they deserve it. They've earned it. They're working hard right now to make it happen, man. They really are. And I think they're going to. I really believe it's going to happen. It's a great day. I've been on podcasts before. I've guest starred on podcasts before. We've talked about this very topic. About how WWE has no idea how to handle the women. None. Not a zilch. Zero. Zip. None. And now someone on some level in that company said, hey, take the girls from NXT, throw them on Raw. Let's do this. They gave Stephanie the credit for it on the air. Whether or not she had any credit for it to begin with, I have no idea. It was still kind of weird that she had to stand there and introduce all of them 2 weeks ago, which is kind of odd for me. I don't know if I saw that coming. That was kind of a weird deal. But it's whatever, man. You know, they have to have she and Triple H involved in so much stuff on the air. I get that. But, you know, it's the idea of, hey, you know, we know you hated this for a long time. We didn't give you reason to love it. Please come back and check us out again. I love that idea. That the women can come back and really make an impact and make you care. You have to make me care. On episode number 25, we talked a lot about that. You have to make me believe. Make me want to believe. I need to believe in what you're doing. Impress me. Doesn't mean I'm that hard to please. It doesn't. I'm not saying you got to go out there and kill yourself. But make me believe. You want me to come to the shows? You want me to buy the network? You want me to watch Raw and SmackDown every week and we watch the pay-per-view? Then make me believe. Make me feel it. Give me something to believe in. That's what we're talking about here. So, folks, where are you coming down on this? Where are your top stories of the day? What is it that you want to talk about? I got one more for you before we take it home here. The trailer for WWE 2K16 is out right now. You can play as the Terminator. That's the one and only time I'll ever do a lousy Arnold impression, swear to God. It's actually really good. They've plugged a lot of WWE superstars into the trailer. Ambrose is in there, Finn Balor's in there, Paige, Daniel Bryan, of course. A lot of cool stuff. I had no desire to play as Terminator in the new game, but I do now. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Evidently, the folks that were in the car across me that beat the horn agreed too. Hi, how are you? See, I got fans everywhere, man. They're just lurking in the shadows. Sometimes I walk out my front door and there's some deranged fans jumping out of the bushes. Right? They just want my autograph. It's a price you pay for being so awesome. So, where can you find this awesome guy online? Oh my God, I'm so glad you asked. I am a WWE feature columnist on Bleacher Report. Please go check me out. I think there's 2 Tom Clarks on there. I'm the only one you need to worry about. If it's not the guy on the WWE page, you're wasting your time. Trust me. Okay? I do run my own blog, tomclarkbr.wix.com/blog. And for the last time, I have not bought the destination name yet. Please stop giving me a hard time about it. I'm just kidding. You can say whatever you want. I love you guys. And of course, I do contribute as often as I can to the Camel Clutch blog, the highly esteemed Camel Clutch blog. My latest column on there actually is a column about Cesaro, the eternal conflict between character and the talent. That's paraphrasing. Isn't that terrible? I can't remember the names of my own columns. Just go to the website, you'll find out. CamelClutchBlog.com, BleachReport.com, TomClarkBR.wix.com/blog to read all of my stuff, man. I appreciate it. I love doing this. I've been a fan for 35 plus years. Don't ask how old I am. It's none of your business. But this is what I love to do. If you're a pro wrestling fan like I am and you follow the business and you watch as much as you possibly can like I do as well, please drop me a line. Let's debate, let's discuss, let's chew, and let's spitball this stuff back and forth and give me your comments and I'll give you mine. And we'll get our stuff out there in the open and talk about it and discuss it and all that fun stuff. Look me up on Twitter. Follow me and I'll follow you back. Promise. Tom Clark BR. That's me on Twitter. Drop me an email if you'd like to TomClarkBR@yahoo.com. That's me. I'm also on the Tumblr. Check me out there. Pinterest, I'm on there as well. The Main Event Show has a brand new Facebook page. Go and click that little thumbs up button. If you click that sucker enough, I get like a free cookie or something, or you do, or something like that. I'm not sure how it works. But please go check that out. You can see my ugly mug plastered all over the place on that page. I have to extend to you a huge thank you. I get some nice emails. I get some nice messages and stuff. Thank you guys for always supporting. This is fun stuff. I always do the best I can to entertain. I always do the best I can to give you the best that I have. Because in the Main Event, my job is to educate, entertain, inform, and enlighten. That's what I'm here to do, man. Hope you had fun today. Hope you have fun always. And we're going to see you back again here real soon. Don't forget the 1-year anniversary coming up. I'm going to promote the heck out of that sucker when it gets here. Hopefully have some special guests lined up and all that good stuff. So check it out. I'll be sure to keep posting on Twitter and everywhere I'm at. Just look it up. You can probably find all the information you need. Thanks again for listening, folks. We'll see you back here again real soon on Tom Clark's Main Event.